Hey guys, so this is going to hopefully become part of a new series that I'm working on called In Retrospect, where I look back at older albums and see what they've influenced as well as if they'd hold up under today's standards. The first album I'm going to look at is Wanderlust by the Quick Brown Fox. This album was released on December 1st, 2012 under the label Lapfox Tracks. Now if you didn't already know, Lapfox Tracks is a collection of works created by the many aliases of Dave Rimler, a 31-year-old music producer from Hamilton, Ontario. The label currently hosts almost 50 different aliases, all with unique styles of music and intricate backstories. The Quick Brown Fox alias was first introduced on May 30th, 2008, with his debut self-titled 22-song album, and the latest released being the collaborative single with Download called Thank You. The Quick Brown Fox is the alias Rimler uses to create lighthearted speedcore and gabber with. To many, the Quick Brown Fox is seen as an entry-level speedcore artist for people willing to dive deeper into the genre that is speedcore. The Quick Brown Fox is known for his melodic and often comedic speedcore tracks, being most well known for his song The Big Black. You know, the one that goes... Anyways, most of his songs prior to the album Wanderlust were lacking in a melodic structure and mainly focused on the ways the kick pattern created tones, which is usual of older speedcore. I would argue that Wanderlust is the album that changed how artists look at speedcore as a genre and paved the way for more melodic speedcore releases. This is of course just an opinion, but I really believe that it influenced the change in the genre. Anyways, let's move on to the album itself so the video isn't too long. The first track, Lifeline, serves as an introduction into the album and leads directly into the second track, titled Wanderlust. Wanderlust opens with an Atari 2 sequencer, complete with text-to-speech voice speaking the chorus. This voice is present in many of the Quick Brown Fox's songs, which helps immerse us. This leads into the first sung lyrics of the song, along with an arpeggiated melody, which is not too out of place for a speedcore track. Slowly, the 500 BPM kicks come in and we're greeted with the first chorus. After the chorus ends, we're transported into a gabber section of the song, at 250 BPM with a new arpeggiated melody playing with a synth saw. After this section, we are led into the breakdown, which introduces us to the lyrics sung by a choir of 37, of which here are their names.
I'm filled with wanderlust, my dreams are running circles. I want to wake up smiling.
Wait, is that? This has always been my favorite part of the song, as it just sounds so melodic. Along with the 500 BPM kicks, it just fits so well. After the choir comes in a Vocaloid that sounds just...
Confide in me, I'm your heart after all.
This section is followed by more speedcore overlaid with the Vocaloid that brings us into another breakdown. This then leads us into a chiptune section that serves as a great break from the speedcore. After the chiptune section, we move back into a final speedcore section, layered with the choir that brings us into the next track, Bad Dream Baby. This track starts off by giving a glitchy stereo arp that leads into a simple melody. Once again, the speedcore kicks bring us into the chorus, where a slower, more melodic melody is introduced. Once again, the drums switch to a gabber pattern halfway through the chorus. This leads us into the breakdown, composed of a soft synth playing a new melody with the glitchy arp from the intro. With that, we are led into another speedcore section that mirrors the first, complete with the gabber pattern. This song is fairly copy-paste with its sections and does not vary as much as the previous. Vivid. This track starts with a distorted guitar that leads into a happy hardcore gabber style section. Yet another text-to-speech vocal is added with lyrics I can't decipher. This leads us into a more speedcore, but more atmospheric, as the kicks are meant to be heard as a constant noise rather than a beat. This leads into another happy hardcore gabber section that leads us into another distorted guitar section. The track finishes off with all the aforementioned elements blending together in a gritty atmospheric track. CRT. This track begins with a swelling synth that leads into a typical lapfox-style gabber track. The text-to-speech returns, and we're also greeted with supersaws that blast a memorable melody that is reinforced with another beautiful Vocaloid-style verse. This section leads us back into some gabber. The track ends on the Vocaloid, and we are led into Line Out. This track starts with a mallet/PC music style drum beat and a voice saying the Quick Brown Fox's trademark. We are then led into a very atmospheric pad section backed with some kicks. This leads us into a simple melody that then leads us into one final atmospheric section before ending the song and perfectly leading us into the next track. Saiten no Hikiriki. This track starts with the most amazing piano arrangement I've heard in a while, then leads into a build-up that brings us into a gabber section with an acid bass line. This track brings us to the dark side of the Quick Brown Fox with his intense melody paired with non-stop kicks. The vocal chops and guitar samples reinforce the stress we're made to feel. The song then breaks down back into the piano track from the beginning to calm us down once again, this time with an added synth element. The final section is a culmination of the synth with the stressful mid-section, which leaves us with two very different moods clashing for our attention. I would assume this track might be trying to represent anxiety in the way sometimes calm scenarios can leave stress in the back of our minds. Autumn Day Distraction. We open with a Vocaloid, then quickly cut to a gabber section with a strong synth melody. The melody is then removed to focus more on the kicks, which is a throwback to older The Quick Brown Fox tracks. We are brought back to the vocal again before being greeted with an almost dubstep section. This leads us back into the original gabber section. This track to me feels out of place on the album except for the inclusion of the vocal. If not for the vocal sample, I would say this song doesn't need to be on the album. Just Hesitation. This track is a rework of a previous track, No Hesitation. This track begins with a distinct synth melody before bringing in a pendulum vocal sample. From this, we are brought into an atmospheric gabber section. This leads into a breakdown that vocodes the vocal sample and brings in a piano that gives this track a very calm feeling. The track ends with another gabber section that slowly turns into a speedcore section, with the kicks slowly increasing in speed. And with that, the album is over. This album, to me, showed the world that speedcore could be more than just really fast kicks. Through tracks like Line Out and Just Hesitation, Rimler shows that you can build up an atmosphere by utilizing your kicks to not overwhelm the other elements. Through tracks like Wanderlust, CRT, and Just Hesitation, they show us that speedcore and gabber can have an amazing vocal track that can bring everything together and create a melodic track. In today's production standards, there are very few aspects of the album that date it. I think that if this album was released in 2019, no one would be able to tell that it was produced 7 years ago, except for the tracks Line Out and Autumn Day Distraction, as they stand out for not being as well mixed or mastered as the rest. In closing, I believe this album has redefined the standards we hold speedcore to now. Rimler has succeeded in creating a new style of speedcore that blurs the lines between melodic and dark. Anyways,